We ready?
We are ready.
All right, let's go ahead and call our festival meeting to order.
Okay, very quickly here. You have, oops, did I, hold still, it's on my desk. Anyway, you guys have 17 scholarships to go through. So that's good. So we need the winner by April the 13th. So if you guys could be looking at that. Trash boxes, the pricing for that was $613 with printing, $586 without printing. So if they're printed, it's going to be $7,356. That's only $10 less than what the sponsor paid the last time. I thought it would be a little bit more cheaper because of the print plates were paid for, but I don't know if it's the cost of the boxes. But then Denny also said that the cost may go up if, of course, we don't get them worked. So I haven't talked to Danny yet because I just got the pricing this weekend. So hopefully they'll want to sponsor it.
Yeah, it would be nice to see if he could increase his sponsorship some, so that way we could clear more. I mean, either way, it's helpful, right? Because we're covering the cost of the boxes.
Right. Yeah.
But if we could more than cover that, that would be helpful, I think. I don't know. It's kind of my thought.
Yeah. I'll try and get a hold of him this week.
What's the cost without the printing?
Without is $7,032.
Okay.
So that's what
If he
we would be
chooses not to
paying.
sponsor
Yeah,
at all.
if he chooses not to sponsor and we can't find another sponsor, that's what we will be paying.
Okay.
So even if he does the 73, that's paying
It's paying for the boxes.
paying our boxes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So have another one last entertainer. His name is Teague Holt, and he would be a country singer. That's the only one we haven't booked yet as far as country goes. He is 18. He's probably 19 now, but he won Artist of the Year through the Grand Ole Opry of Nashville, and he is really good. He went to he was at Fisher's Festival Freedom Festival is what I'm trying to say. Really nice guy. But anyway, he's got a nice group. He's got so they give me a good price of $2,200. So if you guys are okay with me booking that, I'll go ahead and book him, and then that'll be
Is that Saturday?
yes.
That's pretty much in line with,
No.
or a little more.
Yes, yeah, it's less, a little bit less. We were able to get them a little bit less. They're actually touring from up north, and they're going to be heading down this way. So I'll go ahead and book them if you guys are okay with that. Applications have been mailed out. We're getting applications back. ID tags will be ordered and ready to go. We're still working on sponsors right now. So far, we've got 8,500 in sponsorships that have come in. That's not what's promised. So we're still working on our sponsorships. And actually, everything's just kind of like restrooms are scheduled, kids zone, all that kind of stuff. So unless there's something that you guys are wondering about, I know. Oh, go ahead. Yes,
I just wondered, has the barbecue place been contacted? Are they going to be open for beer and wine?
I don't think so.
Well, if they're not, why don't we start trying to find somebody to fill that position?
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I've talked to her several times about, there's been people that have come in here interested in actually doing something with the barbecueology. And I've given them, I've emailed her their name, and nothing's come from that.
But
So
is it with wine and beer? Or do you know?
I don't know.
You're saying for the festival, somebody else doing wine and beer other than them? That's what you're
Well,
asking?
anybody.
Anybody
I know
doing it?
Because so many of these festivals, they won't offer that.
Yeah.
I just think we need something to pull them back in.
There's a lot of local producers I think there's like a winery in Noblesville and one in Sheridan, and
Are we allowed to have that on town property?
yeah,
Okay.
we'd have to get a liquor license, but yeah.
Okay.
I mean, do you want me to contact them, or do you want to figure it out?
I-
Different.
I think if I'm open to more information's better than less.
Okay.
So I would be happy to learn more about it. Yeah, I'd be happy to learn. Yeah, I'd be happy to learn what options exist if there are any, and then we could discuss it further. You know.
Is it Woliak Winery?
They're
I
one
don't
of our sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah, they come.
Are they a winery, you know? Do they do beer and wine?
Oh,
They don't produce it, but they have
right.
it.
Oh, they have it there. 'cause
They have
a
the
liquor
wine
like
there.
that.
Yeah.
But they don't produce it, I don't know.
I would say we should pursue that and put it in the park, but by the hospitality tent. Or in the hospitality tent, if we're gonna do it. And not put it out on Main, but put it near the music and get people to go over there.
That's the reason I wondered if the barbecue place is kind of off center, but there'd be a big space for it.
Well, I know Steve Plummer's talked about it before as well, because they have that garden area out back.
Right.
But in any case, I think if we're looking local art, to me, that's
Advertising.
kind of fits into that. There's some kind of a locally produced, crafted product, you know.
Okay. I'll start contacting them.
Yeah, I appreciate
Mhm.
at least finding out about it and see what our options are. I think that'd be
I
great.
wrote down 4 different names, so
Yeah.
surely one of them will jump on it.
Okay, and then there is, I think I put this in the packets last meeting. Troy Ferguson, did I put the email for you guys in that?
I don't
remember
remember
Just
seeing,
left.
I don't remember seeing it.
Maybe I saved it for this meeting, this. Okay, so Troy Ferguson, he bought Alling's house down here on the corner, and he deals with antiques. He's come in here several times and was wanting to, actually, I told him we'd be glad to have him at a meeting and he could sit down with you guys. But he changes he changes, you know, his stories from different times. So I don't know what he's wanting to bring antiques in. I told him, I said that would be wonderful. We love antiques. And I said, you know, we've tried an antique alley before, and I said what we ran into was antiques. First of all, they didn't want them on an outdoor show because of the weather.
Sure.
You know, and then you get to with antiques, there's a lot of little things, and they just didn't want to. You know, the one
Yeah, you
year we
can
did
walk
it,
it off or
the
get
one year
broken.
we did it, we had 4 that were together, and which was really nice. But he is wanting to use the house down here, and he's wanting to put antiques all around it. But he's wanting us to give him 8 spots out front so people could see it. And I said, well, that's like $1,600. I said, you know, how are we going to make up our money that way? And he said, well, you just have to be open-minded.
Yeah, sure.
So if people see the antiques, then, you know, that's going to, you know. So
I don't think he realizes the exposure that he has on
Right.
the Main Street side.
right,
Like
right,
Always
exactly.
always had that all open over there they took the fence down, and I mean, great exposure.
Well, and he was hoping that there would be some antique people here this evening for the meeting. So, and he's not here. So I'm just letting you know that he's been in here several times talking about this, but
Is that a Main Street address, or is that
yeah,
a Broadway
it's
Main Street address? So they wouldn't get a reserved spot, right?
They get one.
They got one on Broadway Street. They always had one on Broadway Street, and then we found out years ago that they were subletting. We didn't realize it, and we told them, hey, you can't do that. So they don't get one now. They didn't want it, so if they couldn't sell it,
Bless
they
you.
didn't want it, so so they do not have it over there.
Well, in any case, I think 8 spots is a no-go. I think, I mean, I don't see that being viable. I don't see us giving them any spots as being a viable option.
And I don't know what case you could make for one vendor over another getting a free spot. So,
He does own the property, correct?
Yeah.
wouldn't you get a spot?
One.
Correct. One
That's it.
with the property.
Not
But isn't it typically if you're on the street, I don't know. I guess that's a kind of a gray area and
Yeah,
we can
just-
accommodate, maybe it makes sense. But like, I'm not even sure we technically own the spot because they're on Main Street and they don't have any access problems to their property and they've got frontage on Main Street that they can use to sell whatever they want.
That's true.
But in any case, if I'm open to the argument of giving them one, but I don't think anything beyond that's certainly not reasonable.
No.
So,
Okay, well, if he comes in again, we'll see. We'll see if he comes in or if he calls again.
but I like the idea of somebody
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to bring it in
Sure.
keeps. I think it makes some sense.
Yeah, so.
And there's decent access there. If somebody bought a big item, they could
Mhm.
just wheel it down. It's just a block away from the street closure. So, you could probably work that out pretty well.
Okay, so we'll see if he, like I said, if he comes back. So, other than that, Ryan's here tonight. Ryan, do you have anything?
Sure. You ready for me?
Unless they have other questions for me, we'll just turn it over to you.
I appreciate the opportunity. I had a chance to review your last festival meeting from February, which I think was the last meeting that you guys had, and I know there was a lot of questions that were raised during that meeting. I had an opportunity to briefly talk with Mr. Calhoun about a few of those, and so I would be remiss if I didn't come here this evening and try to address some of those questions that seem to be lingering. Wouldn't be a very good coworker or friend if I didn't do that, because it seems to be a lot of misconceptions and confusion. So just take a couple of minutes and try to clear up some of that confusion as I see it. So there were some questions about who I worked for. So prior to March 17th of 2021, I worked for the sheriff's office. I served two roles. I was the purchasing agent for the sheriff, direct report to the sheriff, and I also served in the reserve division. I rose to the rank of a lieutenant. And so we staffed this festival event here for many years, and I was the guy that did that for on and off at different points. So I can remember the first time we did it, or that I was responsible, was many years ago, that they had either terminated or the town marshal had quit shortly before the festival. We were contacted about a week prior by the then board president, who's no longer here in that capacity. We filled that role. They hired a town marshal, I think like 2 days before the festival, and we kind of worked together and made it happen. Then we weren't used for a couple years, and then we were again and brought in when they dissolved the police department. So I did that job or jobs all the way up through March 17th of 2021. On March 18th of 2021, I was sworn in the Arcadia Police Department as a reserve town marshal. Okay. In June of 21, I was hired at the 911 Center in Hamilton County. Since then, the 911 Center Emergency Operations is what it's now called. So 911, EMA, and Public Safety Training are now one division, and I work for the Executive Director in my full-time capacity. So my full-time capacity, I work for the Emergency Operations, and in a part-time role, I work for the town of Arcadia. Outside of that, I have a few other jobs. I work for a very large entertainment company that's based out of Los Angeles. They have venues and locations, quite frankly, all over the world. They have one here in Noblesville. It's the closest venue. And I've been there 30 years this month. So I got a little bit of experience dealing with large crowds, got a little bit of experience dealing with festivals and music shows and you name it. So that's what kind of maybe uniquely positions me to try to help you guys with your festival. So I think that might clear up. Hopefully that clears up my employment. If it doesn't, it's certainly on the record now. So should be pretty rock solid, pretty clear if there's any confusion there. I think Mr. Johnson, you asked a question during the meeting, and yep, you did. One of the questions you asked was, is there somebody else in the game? Basically, is there somebody else that could do the job? And the answer is yes. I am not aware of anything that requires you or this group to pick us to provide those services. So if you want to use somebody else, I think you're absolutely free to do that. There's nothing that binds you to specifically use this group. The question was, can it be security guards? And the answer is yes, it can be. Would I recommend that? I would not recommend that. But the answer is yes. Indiana code does provide direction for these types of events. Specifically, the code is 1641.22. 1641.22 provides real clear direction as to what you're technically required under the code to provide, and it could be security or it could be police. I think that code specifically might provide some general direction. It might answer some of these questions for you all. There may be a basis that you would want that to be reviewed by your attorneys to determine whether or not you're required to follow it. As I read it, I would tell you, technically, you're probably supposed to follow it. I think your festival comes after there's a date certain, and based on what I can discern when this festival started, I think you're within the date range, and there's some exclusions, and I don't think you fall within that exclusion. So, I mean, technically, as Ryan reads it, I think it provides some. I think it's something you're probably technically supposed to follow. Even if you didn't technically have to follow it, and you wanted to assume that somebody scholarly wrote it, okay, that somebody that knew what was happening constructed the code, it does have a good basis. It does cover things like the number of portalets, the number of parking spaces for disabled folks, the number of police officers that you should have, the number of physicians, nurses, ambulances. It generally outlines those conditions. So even if your attorney came back and said, we don't think we need to follow it, I think if you just take it on its surface and say that it was scholarly, somebody wrote it that kind of knew what was happening, I think it might help answer some of the questions. It might tell you that you're doing it right, or maybe not doing it the way that somebody else thought you should do it. Okay, but it does outline the number of police officers that you should be employing. And so again, if we made the argument and said that it was correct, based on the own numbers that you guys put forward. You guys put forward numbers that suggest there's approximately 100,000 people that come to the festival. So if we take 100,000 and we divide that by 2, 50,000 a day, it tells us that we should have 66.6 officers working each day. 750 officers, one officer for every 750 persons. Now, we can maybe argue and say, there's not 50,000 people here all at one particular time, which I would agree that's probably a good concept, that not everybody is here at the exact time, but it doesn't really provide for that. It says 1 for 750. So if we just do the basic math based on the basic numbers, 66.6 officers a day. We didn't have 66.6 officers working here during the festival. It suggests that you should have a physician and a nurse here. I don't remember that happening. So there's some general guidance, right? I just give you that as maybe you're doing it right, okay? Maybe it was right-sized, meaning it was the right number of people for the conditions that existed. I don't have all the answers. I just can give you what's on the surface. I can tell you that again, I work for a large company, and we strive for that number, but that's a difficult number. Okay, finding 66.6 people to work here would be very, very complicated, even if you could afford it, which I don't know that you can. I don't know that I could come up with 66.6 people. Okay, we gave a number last year that we thought that it would cost. We came in under that number. Could we have got to that magic number? Yes, we could have. But I think it would have taken many more weeks of phone calls and favors to get enough staffing to get us to that magic number. So we didn't. Did we have enough? Yes. Would I've loved to have just a couple more people? Yes. But we brought them in from literally all over, all the surrounding agencies plus our agency, and that's what it took in order to cover that. I know there seemed to be some confusion about that at various points, but could I have got to that magic number? Yes. Would I've liked to have just a couple more guys? Yeah, absolutely. But would have been very, very complicated to get there. So I just give you that as I know that there's some comments about the rate of pay, and I am brutally honest with everyone here. Many of you have known me for a long time. That rate that we set, I know it was a sticker shock. I know you had a sweetheart deal for a long time. Okay, I negotiated that sweetheart deal for you in my previous life, and we were able to take a couple of those sweetheart deals and push them together, meaning there were similar events throughout the county, and we were able to take that, we were able to staff it, and take the revenue that was gained from that and made it a nice Christmas for those volunteer police officers, for those reserve deputies. That was a different time. That when we first started working here, guys, we had 40 rostered reserve deputies.
Yeah.
Now, I think they have 11, and it might be lower than 11 at the sheriff's office. We have that at the town of Arcadia. Okay, so it's a dying breed. Finding people to come and volunteer their time is a dying breed. And if you don't believe me, in the words of a famous football coach, Google it. Google it, because it is. Volunteer fire services are closing every day, all across the world. They just don't exist. Finding somebody to come and drive the truck out during the day doesn't exist. Same thing happens on the police side. You know, these guys, they would lay down their lives for every person in this room, the ones that are still there. But a lot of people don't like them, and they don't get compensated a lot. It's very little compensation. And it's a dying breed. So having 40 rostered people that made it possible to staff this event, not possible. It's just not possible today. Even if I was in my previous role, I don't think that we could staff that with that sweetheart deal. And so again, I was the guy that negotiated that. I wasn't much of a negotiation. That was the rate. But it worked, and it worked for a long time. It doesn't work today. That hourly rate is, I will tell you, as I know it's a sticker shock, and I know there's gasp and there is emotion from various people. It's a very low rate. In order for us to get people there, I will tell you they're probably giving up an opportunity to go and work somewhere else for a higher wage. But if you work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that's a pretty good little part-time gig for a couple days. It's not overly complicated. It's not overly challenging. It's a little bit of heat sometimes. You got to direct a little traffic. You might have to pick up, somebody that's fell on the ground. You might have to do some things that you're not exactly accustomed to. But it's not a bad thing. So I just tell you that rate is low. And that's part of the reason why it was a challenge for us to find the ones that we did, because you can go on a Sunday morning and you can go to any church, quite frankly, south of 266th Street, and make $80 an hour or $100 an hour, and not be in a uniform, and not be directing traffic or stung by the bees or anything else. So it's a low rate. I know it's a high rate. I know there's gasp about that, but even surrounding counties, quite frankly, they pay a lot more. There's festivals here that pay more than that per hour. So I'm only telling you that I'm trying to put some context in it. I know there's opinions and there's emotions about that, but there was a sticker shock. 100% get it. We set a number. We thought that was a reasonable number. We thought we could staff it for the most part. We thought we could staff it. We did. We did a good job of staffing that. Based on your own, emissions. There, you saw the police, and somebody got threatened to be arrested for moving a barricade. That'd be interesting, but we'll go with it. I think you saw a visible police force out there, so I think we tried to do a pretty good job holistically. As far as I think maybe it's a little bit of confusion on Shop for Kids is a nonprofit organization that takes kids shopping in the wintertime. They don't offer any type of they don't staff events in lieu of paying the officer. There's a donation. I think maybe that's what some people thought. It's two separate, distinct things. We raise money. I'm the treasurer for the Shop for Kids organization. We raise money. We take kids shopping at Christmas. We don't really staff festivals or parades or anything like that. It's just not something that we do. We have officers and troopers and deputies from surrounding agencies that help work that event. So again, I hope that one kind of clears that one up. And I think again, some conversation about, I know we addressed it after the festival in 25. There was some evidence that was presented of 3 people riding around on a golf cart. And in fact, the picture that was presented wasn't of a police officer. And I'm not going to call you out, but I'm going to call you out. It was Chris. It was a town board member, and he was on a golf cart. It wasn't a police officer. If somebody's upset that Chris was on a town golf cart, my only response to that is, don't elect him next time. That's my response to that. Do I care that there was 3 police officers on a cart? On the surface, no, I don't. Do I think that it was something that occurred every day and all day long? No. Is there an opportunity that they were moving one of our assets around, or were they going to open and close barricades? Was this at 6 o'clock and we were going to open all the roads and somebody was jumping off and I don't know, because nobody called me when it happened. There wasn't a picture of it where I could ask them. But again, on the surface, we don't care. Most of those carts aren't really equipped to be road 3. It's not real comfortable. Most of our guys are not the smallest people in the world. So I don't think that it occurred all the time. Is it possible? It is. It is 100% possible. But again, not something that's really in our plan to do. And so I know there was some conjecture about that, but as the guy that was responsible that day, it wasn't something that we intentionally did. But again, on the same token, I'm not sure that I'm totally real worried about it. The meals that were provided, lot of conversation in these last 2 festival meetings about it. So I will attempt to set this one straight 100%. I'm going to say that those meals have been provided since I've been doing this. I tried to count how many years. I don't know. I can only tell you who was the board president when I first did it. And I guess we could try to figure it out from that date, but it's been many years. And I can tell you every year we have supplied a list. It was Robin, now it's Jennifer. And they were gracious to pick those items up for us. In my previous life, the cost was split between the sheriff and the town. So the sheriff paid for some of it and the town paid for some of it. I can tell you last year, the town paid for some of it and we personally paid for some of it. We went and picked up items and contributed to the cause. And I know there's a lot of conversation about it. Let me give you the empirical reason. Let me tell you why we do it. I told you earlier that not everybody likes the police. Fundamentally, sometimes people do things with they don't have great intentions. Okay, I can't validate the chicken and rice that was cooked on Main Street on Friday. I can validate the biscuits and gravy that were cooked at the firehouse on Saturday morning. I can't validate the ribeye sandwich. I can validate the walking taco on Sunday. Okay? And so we provide something that the staff can come and eat. It's not just cops. I know there was that conversation. It was just the cops. It's not just the cops. There's cops in there. There's firemen in there. There's town employees that are in there. There's state troopers. There's Department of Natural Resource officers. The cadets, the fire cadets that man the trailer on Main Street. They come down, residents, festival goers that fall out. You know, they come there because they're not feeling well. Sometimes they just need a granola bar, and you give them 20 minutes in the air conditioning, and they're back out buying tube socks on Main Street. And I say that, I know that sounds a little flippant, but that's the reality. Sometimes we don't need to take them to the hospital. We can give them a granola bar, right? A little air conditioning and a bottle of water. And so I would tell you that those costs are not 100% exclusively bared by the town. There are things that are split. You know, we provided water and Gatorade and breakfast items. Some people do choose to go over to Jennifer's, and she graciously allows everybody to come in. But a lot of people do eat there. Do we prohibit our people from going and eating on Main Street? No. Have I, in the X number of years, gone and gotten a corn on the cob? Yes. Do I do it on Saturday? No. Do I do it on Sunday morning? No. I do it Sunday, right before they close, just in case I should happen to fall out. Again, we didn't have a bunch of extra people. So if a bunch of people get sick, it hurts us, right? We can't really afford to have people getting sick because they got a bad batch of chicken and rice. They're adults. I can't force them not to do it. But if we provide them a lunch, we provide them a dinner, it's pretty safe. And I also tell you that we have people here around the clock. So not a lot of dining options here in the town proper, you know, of an evening. So they can go there and make themselves a sandwich or reheat something. And it gets them through the night, right? That way they don't have to necessarily leave town. They're readily accessible. We had people here, you know, 24 hours a day. And so I don't know. I can't tell you what the cost is. Jennifer, I'm sure, has receipts and everything anybody wants. But I don't think there was anything, to pulling a wool over anybody's eyes. I said when I opened my remarks that I didn't want, I wouldn't be a very good friend or coworker if I didn't address it, because I think that sometimes people give a perception that they did something wrong, that you did something wrong because you had a walking taco at the fire station. Well, none of those guys that worked, we didn't have any gals, so I'll just say guys that worked, did anything wrong. They what was provided to them, some of them contributed things, and it's a tradition that's been going on for a long time. And so that's the reason that we do it, is because we can't validate what's out there. I can validate what's at the firehouse. Pretty much can validate what's at Jennifer's house too. I don't think she's going to do any harm to any of us. So I hope that helps answer some of those questions, and maybe just provides a little bit of clarity. And again, if you all choose as a group not to fund that's your prerogative. I would ask that you tell us sooner than later so we can figure out what we're going to do. Our intent would be to continue. We'll have to make some decisions. I'm not trying to put you in a corner, not trying to be to create conflict, but it is just something that we need to know. And I think the last thing that I would say is, you know, just a lot of emotion about there's a lot of emotion, and I know you know, Fred's been emotional, and Jennifer's been emotional at different times, and it's because there's pride. You take pride in what you got going on here, and I don't have any skin in the game. I don't live in town. I live in Fishers. I come up here because I've known many of you for a long time, try to provide a service. I think I do a good job. If I don't, that's fine. We'll find somebody else to do it. It's no skin off my back. But at no point do I believe that Fred or Jennifer ever stole one red nickel from this festival. Period. I wouldn't associate with them if I thought that anything to the contrary of that. There's comments about their parking. I would tell you that there's probably more people that park in their field that don't pay that do pay. And I know that because we send them over there. And that's no different than Johnny's house. You know, a lot of people don't know that he parks all the disabled people there. I know that because I'm the guy. So when the people come in and they need a wheelchair accessible spot, I send them to Johnny's house, and Johnny makes it happen, just like Jennifer and Fred do. Period. Absolutely, 110%. Don't believe. Are they benefiting? Yeah, but they bought a lot, just like anybody else could. Free citizens to do that, And so, you know, it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of bothered me for the last couple months. So I'm gonna tell you what I think, and I think I did that pretty good. And if anybody has any questions for me, I'll be happy to take them. But hopefully, I gave you some wisdom and some direction, and maybe something you can go back and research at a later date.
Thank you, Ryan. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ryan, you sticking around for a few minutes?
Sure thing.
I have some numbers if you want me to give them now. Or,
You are fine,
um,
whatever you want to do.
I after the last couple meetings, I started looking into the festival as a profit. Were we making money on the festival? What were we spending money on at the festival? How could we run the festival better? The one issue that I think everybody has to understand these numbers is the festival is a bucket in the budget. It's not just a festival. So when you say it's the festival fund, that's not the festival. We have a line item in the budget that says the festival, I don't know what number it is or even what the proper name of it is, but it's the festival fund. We bring in money from the festival. We spend money to run the festival, and that's a number. And that's the number I was interested in. What does it take to how much do we bring in? How much do we spend to bring that money in? What's that number? What's our profit? That's not the only thing that's in the festival fund. Throughout the whole year, we spend money out of that fund for the town because the festival is a fundraiser. We spend that money on tree trimming. We spend it on sidewalks. Whatever we spend it on comes out of that budget, but that's not a line item that is festival related. So, and this is I'm not saying anything bad about Jennifer. I'm saying that's the way it's done. But what I've tried to do to figure out, are we really making any money or are we not making money, is to separate the things that don't have anything to do with the festival. And Jennifer and I have talked, and we've kind of come up with another name to put on them, to non-festival other, because everything else just went under other. So I've been working with Jennifer. I've got 2025 pretty buttoned down. 2024 is close, and 2023 I'm still working on. But in 2025, we brought in $91,893.50, and the festival-related expenses were $74,004.69 for a profit of $17,888.81. That's what the festival brought in total. So then if you look at, my computer's going, stop it. What we spent on other things throughout the year were $6,600 worth of things that had nothing to do with running the festival. That was just tree trimming in April, or whatever we decided to spend money on came out of that fund. So if you total it up, it kind of looks like we didn't really make all that much. If you take that $6,000 out, it would say, oh, you only made about $10,000. No, we made about 18, and that's looking at 2024. That number was 19.6. But we spent a whole lot of money out of that fund that had nothing to do with the festival. That was almost $25,000 worth of money came out of it because there was money in it. And that did a lot of good around town. But it really didn't have anything to do with what the festival did. So as a festival, we're making about $18,000 to $20,000 a year from what I can see. I went back and I looked at every receipt in 2025 that was on other, that wasn't specifically marked out. Spent a day with Jennifer, and I didn't see anything that caused concern. I didn't see, I mean, I saw the food that you were talking about. Everything to me looked above board, and it matched what the numbers were on the fund report. So from what I can tell, I have a degree in math. I don't have a degree in finance. So from what I can tell, and my wife can tell, who does have a degree in finance, everything's fine. We're making money on the festival. I'm trying to break it down more as to what we are actually spending the money on for supplies. And I was surprised. There's a whole lot of things we spend money on. Stamps, envelopes, copy paper. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. But anyway, I don't have 2023 done yet. I will try to get that done. Jennifer's been gone, I've been gone, so we'll get that done, and then I'll have a better report that I can hand out to everybody. But we are making money every year, and even last year, there were a lot of expenses that were higher than normal, but we had a lot more sponsors. So anyway, that's what I have. Anybody has any questions? I mean, feel free to ask. I don't know if I can answer them, but
The only other comment that I would make is that, and I failed to do that, was that number could be worse.
Oh.
And the reason it could be worse is that you don't pay for everything that's used. So every golf cart that we bring up, every message board sign that we bring up, every fire department QRV that gets brought up, you're not paying for that. And that's something that's different than the other place that I work for. They're not afforded those luxuries. They rent. It looks like Sunbelt exploded because it all has to get rented, right? Unless they have the capital to buy the message board signs and the golf carts and the gators and all those things. And so I only say that is that, yeah, you rent, let's say 12 carts, but reality is it's 24 carts is what you actually need. But 12 of them, we're begging and borrowing on both sides, the fire side and the police side, in order to do that. So I only tell you that is that it could be worse, right?
Yeah.
If you were truly trying to capture all of your expenses, then you would have to look at that too.
there
Right?
are hidden expenses in there that we
Absolutely.
don't see.
I mean, those two message board signs on County Line, they're not free.
Is that part of the emergency management?
Well, yeah, I mean, but again, a private festival wouldn't really have access to. You're in a
Right.
You're uniquely positioned because you're a town, and the town is doing it. The town board serves as the committee. Most of the time, this stuff would never make it to a public meeting, and the only reason it is because of you guys, and I mean that's why. So if this was the pork festival, it wouldn't be occurring in this setting, per se, right? But those are deals that they work out. And I just tell you, if you're truly trying to capture that number, the barricades of the town, the barricades from Tipton County, those would all be things that.
Is that something we should be paying for? I mean,
No, I don't. Again, I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I mean,
Okay.
we put in a request. So like with all these other agencies, we put in a request, just like the fire department does. Hey, Chief Mitchell from Noblesville Fire, can we borrow your gator? Yep. And then, okay, can we borrow yours from Fisher's Fire? And can we borrow yours from Westfield? And it takes 3 or 4 of those in order to get enough that the fire department has them. We do the exact same thing. Now, we utilize the golf cart in the Kubota last year. We had one that died. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But we borrowed from other agencies in order to get us enough that the guys could get around, so that they weren't riding 3 to a golf cart every time.
if that becomes something that we need to pay for, let us know. I mean, we can factor that in and somehow manage it. But
I
don't-
just thought it was something for your mind.
Yeah,
That
that there's hidden costs out there that we don't see.
yeah, I mean, there was one year they needed barricades, and so under the cover of darkness they called, and I brought them barricades, and I mean, just because you know people, you can make a phone call. So
Mhm.
I think there's some You know, it's no different than putting a tent. You know, you have a tent on her property.
Right,
Most places you would have to rent that.
right.
She allows you to do that.
Allows you to do it, yes.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank
Thank you, Ron.
Appreciate it.
That's all I have.
That's all. Well, thank you, Tim, for helping with the numbers. I appreciate that.
Is there a way to,
He's doing graphs. He's doing graphs.
sure,
for
sure,
me.
sure.
I don't do
is there a way to create more categories that might make deciphering this at the end of the year a little bit easier? So, you know, you could have a bathroom one, you could have a food one, you could have a public safety.
Well, there are.
Like break down, add categories if we need to, just to make it a little bit easier to.
Line by line.
Sure, and not necessarily because if you got 100 different
right now,
vendors,
yeah.
you can't have 100 different categories.
No.
But can we say office supplies? Can we
Yeah,
say-
there, that's in
We
there.
do have office
Okay,
supplies.
so
We have
I
restaurants,
guess
we
the
have
question is
trash.
like, if a lot ends up in other
Yeah.
or miscellaneous or something like that, like can we add some categories
Descriptive.
that
Be more
might,
district, yeah.
So out of the $74,000 that we spent, 4,000 of it was other.
so that's a small percentage.
It's a small
Sure.
percentage. Yeah. But yes, that's what I went through was the other to say, okay, that was other, but it was festival other,
Sure,
and this was other, but it wasn't festival other. So
Yeah.
we added non-festival other
yeah,
into that category. But there's probably a couple more lines, but we got 13 of them now.
Yeah.
sure. So,
So
it's pretty well broken
It's
down.
pretty well
You
broken
can
down.
divvy
It's
them on and-
there may be a
Yeah.
couple more we could add in there that makes sense, but I mean, you don't really want to get too granular
Sure.
with that, but you need to make it understandable that people go look at it. Yeah, I think I can talk to Jennifer and I have some ideas for her that we can
Yeah,
make it a little more granular, but I think that doesn't have to be a part of the fund report though. I mean, that's because this all feeds
Sure.
back into that. So that's what she shows the state, but this is completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, yes, the answer to your question is yes,
I don't.
but I am
I
going
don't. I've not thought anything's particularly wrong. I just have thought that it might be easier to present the information in a way that's
No,
more.
Yes,
More
and
decipherable.
Yes, totally agree with that.
And that's what
Because I just
Jennifer-
did it the way it was just always
Sure.
done, which was how it was, but I like this better, you know.
Yeah,
but just trying to make it more
Mhm.
accessible to someone to look at it and go, oh, I see what's going
Yeah.
on, rather than have to dig through it.
you can avoid some questions or make
Assumptions or
yeah the things that should be obvious, make them obvious, and then the questions that remain are probably questions that need to be asked, and it's
But,
you know, set some minds at ease maybe.
my computer's been stupid. Okay. Yeah, I will have broken down a little bit more in the coming weeks. I don't know, is there anything you guys want to know that we don't know? Like, I don't know. Do you want to know like the number of repeat vendors that we have, or the kind of vendors? Does that make a difference to us at all? The number of total vendors, maybe paying vendors.
I mean that
Oh, we've got all that.
that's
Yeah.
pretty easy info, but that would be, I can't remember if the final report, that might be something nice to put on there, I guess. How many town vendors there were and how many private property vendors that permits were sold to. I
Well,
can't-
and that is on the report.
Yeah, that is
Not
something
that the
that,
revenue is,
Yeah.
but just the number.
How
the
many of
number
each?
You just have
vendors,
to-
you know.
yeah, I
Find
can
it
do
out,
that.
but yeah.
Which, obviously this is easy math to do.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think about like, how could you
Oh, look at it
present
and say,
something in
okay,
the
there's,
clearest way
yeah,
possible
50
that
vendors for.
that starts knocking off simple questions, I guess.
Just
Yeah.
more detailed.
Yeah.
More detailed.
Well, if anybody has,
Financial.
if you want to see something and you want something different, just tell me, and before I finish it all, we can add it to the graphs. And I'm a visual guy, so I like graphs. So when it's all done, it'll have a lot of graphs in it to show everything, year over year growth. Is that, I don't know history. I've only been here 10 years, but is that seem shocking to everybody here that it's 20 grandish? Or in the past, was it way more than that? Or
I think there's been times in the past where it was significantly more. I can't remember. I'm thinking in the 40s
Yeah.
at one time.
Okay.
And our expenses keep going up, but we've done as those have increased exponentially, our increases to booth and permit costs have been pretty nominal.
Slow.
So, and you know, you don't want to do a huge jump all at once because you might scare some people away. But I do think that we need to all be conscious of our expenses keep going up. And so small increases more frequently
We
are
may have to
easier
look at
for
another
people
one,
to
Not
absorb.
this year, but
Sure.
next years or the next year.
Well, and here's something that I found really interesting was, you know, everybody was worried about the increase in staffing police, but in 2023, our expenses were 89,000. In 2024, our expenses were 79,000. And then in 2025, they were 74,000, even with the increase of police. Yes.
Where was 14 grand going?
Don't know. Oh, well, I can tell you the numbers. Well, so far, festival other, I haven't done that yet
Okay.
on 2023. That might be one place where it's going.
It was because we did a lot of tree trimming in 2023. A lot.
Yeah, is that where we had a storm
Yeah.
or something?
25.
Lot of.
Our expenses for the festival, well, I can tell you they went down from 2024 to 2025. I can't tell you about 2023 yet.
Okay, so 2024, we spent more
Yes.
than 2025.
We spent $5,000 more in 2024 than we did in 2025.
But did you buy supplies that carried you over to the next year?
So that was probably trash boxes
But that's
Oh, I
not
didn't
14,000.
That's 5,000.
because we buy in quantity that we had 2 years worth of
Yeah.
trash boxes.
So we didn't
but
pay
was
for
trash
that.
boxes.
And that's how we buy it.
So trash, is that on here? Trash removal, I don't see
Manifold.
a number for.
But in any case, so that probably makes both of those years about pretty.
Yeah, when you
close.
say that you average out with 2
Yeah, yeah.
years, they're probably the same then.
Okay,
I'll keep working on it.
appreciate it.
All good.
I forgot to ask, what was the interest rate on the park money?
It's 3
6.5.
yeah, 3.6.
I know that much money.
You say
It was $1,000. It was $1,200
$1,183 or something.
Yeah.
like that.
1189 was the,
Yeah.
For the month.
Just doing all right.
for the month. Yeah, that's
that's a month.
That's another swing, I'm sure.
Yep. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Anything from any of you? All right. Well, I do want to say you're the guy as far as I'm concerned. Like when your absence was very noticed when you weren't here. I was very surprised, obviously, at the increase in cost, and I believe I was probably the one that suggested talking about the kids' toys thing or whatever. That was a misunderstanding on my part as far as how that works or that charity works. The food thing, my personal thought was, I don't know who or how many people are even eating it, and if they are, and we want to provide that. I mean, I think I said this. Can we do like a ticket to a vendor or something like that, since they're already here serving food? Your explanation makes some sense. So I just wanted to say that I don't have any misgivings about your ability to kind of oversee this or organize it. I do think that it behooves us to explore options if cost is a problem, but I'm well aware of public safety employees' overtime opportunities and overtime rates too. So it doesn't surprise me that it's difficult even at that dollar amount to find people. So
Extremely. Honestly, if I didn't have personal relationships and Alex, I'm not sure we would have, but we begged and borrowed and pleaded, and I mean, I got a few young guys that were there, and they were like, I had a great time. Great, see you next year. So I appreciate your comments, and I mean, they know, they watch this, they hear it, and
Sure.
so I don't want them to walk away believing that
No.
there was anything, that they did anything wrong.
And-
I don't think they did.
And it was notable again, like the well, I mean, my specific example was people driving through the festival. I've seen that the last few years. I didn't see it this year. So the not only the increased presence, but also the expectations, I believe, on the people that were working were more in line with our needs.
Yeah, but we
So-
try to make sure that they know what's going on, and that they're well briefed, and they're visible, and they're out. Do they go and take breaks? Yep. Do they walk Main Street? Do they ride a cart sometimes? Yep. But being out there and being visible and being proactive, hopefully, just sets the the minds that some of what we do is a placebo.
Mhm.
There's not necessarily always somebody where you think they are, but we may be where you don't think that we are. So I would just encourage us to, this group, just be mindful of that. If we're going to talk about staffing level and things, we should probably do that in an executive session and not in a public meeting, and just things like that are probably a good idea. But that's your prerogative. So
Ryan, I'd like to say that working with you guys, and I've worked with you for years,
Mhm.
you're very organized.
Sure.
I mean, when we email back and forth and right away you answer my emails, and I do appreciate that. That we've always worked well together. You guys have always been very, very organized, and I appreciate it.
yeah, I mean, we try. We try to be responsive, and again, just try to provide a good service, and it's fine. And if there's another will, there's another way. That's fine. There's really no skin off my back at all. And many of you have my personal cell phone number, and you can call anytime if there's a question. And you all know that. Those of you that have it know. If you don't have it, you can get it from one of your colleagues. So I know there was a couple years that I wasn't here, and it sounds like it was a little frustrating, but I can't speak to that gap. I can only tell you what we're doing now. So, but again, I would encourage you to look at that code that I gave you, because I think it'll provide some insight for you. And it may be eye-opening.
I didn't even know it existed. I wrote it down. Check it out.
Yeah, you may, like I said, you may consult with your guy, with your legal scholar to see if he or she believes you need to follow it, but just take it as a scholarly piece of writing, if nothing else.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ryan.
Uh,
Does
she have any anyway? Can she still get
The
one?
money,
Mhm.
with the money you're doing, is there a way to know
I would think
To
so.
help
I don't
too.
know if she
what other
set a
towns
date or not.
have earned? Does that make, like, is ours 20,000
well,
good? or
Compared
could-
to-
or-
that's interesting. We
I
could
mean-
probably in public ones. So, like the Peony Festival, I believe is that put on by Noblesville, City of Noblesville? Do you know?
See, the problem is,
So that's a problem.
we're
Is a
public,
lot of
so
them
we
are.
have to say it.
Okay.
They're not, so
And
they
I
can
think even
play-
though
they can say whatever they want.
I think even the small little thing they do in Arcadia is private. Like a lot of them are
I just thought maybe that would help.
done with the
When you're,
permission of the
to-
council, not
Mhm.
by the council.
Okay.
But that's interesting. I don't know. Maybe surely there's another public one out there. Frankfurt
It was just a
or
thought.
Frankton or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look it up.
where I know from word of mouth
Let's
that
do
other
March
ones
20th.
are struggling every year. That,
I mean, the prices for anything is going up.
right.
Mhm.
So I have heard there are quite a few festivals that are struggling to keep going, but I don't see that as a problem here. So
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Is there you got something?
No, I'm just
Okay.
gonna
You
end
got
this.
let's have.
motion to adjourn.
Yep.
I make a motion we adjourn the festival meeting.
There's a cat out here waiting on
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.